woman named Elise is being trailed in Paris by French police working with Scotland Yard. They are desperately hunting her former lover, a man named Alexander Pierce. Elise is the only person who can lead them to Pierce, as he allegedly have had plastic surgery to change his looks. Having tea at a cafe, a courier approaches her, hand a letter presumably from Alexander, with explicit directions to board a train to Venice, Italy, pick out a man who resembles him, and make the police believe that this man is Alexander Pierce. As the two talking, Scotland Yard seriously observe the courier's face.
Alright, grab him.
It seems a bad day for the courier, as the agents then arrest him for suspecting him as Alexander. A mysterious stranger, not involved with the police, also seems to be watching Elise. Elise burns the letter and left, while the police rushes to save the letter that quickly turned to ashes. Anyway, they manages to read Where Is She Headed? Elise calmly goes to the station. At the entrance she stops for a moment staring at the agents, sending a clear message that she knows they are tailing her. On the train she takes a seat across from Frank, an American tourist reading a spy novel. Frank is instantly attracted to her. The two having dinner together, and Scotland Yard agents stealthily taking Frank's picture. Soon his picture's already on the hand of a number of Italian Interpol agents who is ready to arrest him at Venice station. But the arresting plan is cancelled shortly after Scotland Yard agent Atchison at the base office discover Alexander's direction to Elise to mislead the police, while another agent find a fact that Frank is just an ordinary tourist. The train arrives in Venice. Frank is standing on the dock as Elise shows up, invites him to go with her on a boat to Hotel Daniele. At dinner, much to Frank's dismay, Elise admits to having feelings for another man, presumably Alexander Pierce. Later, on her room she finds another message from Alexander inviting her to attend a party 2 nights later, and on the balcony to his surprise Elise kiss Frank, witnessed by the men following her. In Scotland Yard base office an agent is staring at Frank's picture on the screen. Thinking he is Alexander Pierce, he quietly shares the information to a gangster named Reginald Shaw, making the gangster changes the direction of his jet plane to Venice right away. The next day, Frank awakens to find Elise gone. Several men with guns suddenly break into the hotel room trying to catch him. Frank barely escapes by running over several roofs in his pajamas, but he has ended up in the hands of Italian police. A sympathetic detective listens to Frank's story that he does not know why these men are after him. He takes Frank from the jail and tells him that his story checks out and that the men after him were Belarusians, who have placed a price on his head and believe Frank to be someone else. The detective, however, then delivers Frank into the clutches of these same men, in order to collect the money they promised. But before they take Frank away, Elise suddenly appears with a boat to rescue him. And they flee together. Shaw's man reports losing their catch to the boss, only to be strangled by him. Elise finally tells Frank that all this is happening because she kissed him and made the police believe that he was Alexander Pierce. Frank learns that Pierce stole $2 billion from gangster Shaw, and he is also wanted by the British government for £744 million tax evasion. Stunned by the news, Frank says he still does not regret kissing Elise. Next day Elise apologizes for getting him involved at all. She tricks Frank off the boat, telling him she wishes meet him in another life and leave him much money. Frank's eyes keep following her as she goes away.
But I'm in love with you.
Elise drives her boat to a government building. She turns out to be a British secret agent. Inside the office she sees her fellow British agent Atchison, who was among those following her in Paris. Elise was supposed to work undercover against Pierce, but fell in love with him and had disappeared from her job until now. She tells Atchison that she is ready to help him find Pierce now because she wants to prevent anybody else from getting hurt, which Atchison simply conclude that her decision because she had a crush on Frank. Wearing a wire, Elise goes to a ball that Pierce has invited her to attend. Atchison keep eyeing her from the balcony. Elise is handed a letter by the same mysterious stranger from Paris. The letter is from Pierce, saying where to meet him. Thinking the guy is Pierce, Elise chases him. but Frank appears, preventing her chase.
Come on. You owe me a dance.
Soon they involved in the dance party, before Elise leaves to find Pierce, and Agent Atchison's men apprehend Frank. Frank is taken to Scotland Yard's car, where Atchison scolded him for almost ruining his job. They both watch on surveillance equipment as Elise walks into a trap set by the gangster Shaw. The gangster threatens to kill her unless she reveals the location of the safe holding the money Pierce stole from him. Seeing the situation getting more dangerous for Elise, the snipers ask permission to shoot and Frank urges Liam to save Ellis over and over, but Agent Atchison doesn't intervene for his colleague Elise, confident that Pierce will show up to rescue her. Under the threat, a knife on her neck, Elise reveals the safe's location but does not know its code. Frank watches in horror as Elise is threatened yet again. Seeing that Atchison won't help Elise, Frank picks the lock to his handcuffs and escapes to help her. Pretending to be Pierce, Frank confronts Shaw and his men. Elise begs him to stop or he will be killed. Frank, acting as Pierce, tells Shaw that he will get his money, but only if Elise is first released and safe. As Frank steps forwards and acting that he is about to open the safe, Elise mouths, "I love you." In that precarious situation, all of a sudden, Chief Inspector Jones gives the order for the police snipers to shoot Shaw and his men. Frank and Elise are unharmed. As the police survey the scene, Agent Atchison can't believe that Pierce did not save Elise. And Jones is furious with him for exposing her to danger. A police report informs them that Pierce has just been caught. As the room clears, Elise and Frank embrace. He asks her if she loves both him and Alexander Pierce. Elise answers yes. To spare her from this dilemma, Frank demonstrates that he is the real Alexander Pierce by entering the correct code for the safe. It's clear Pierce had gotten plastic surgery and turned into Frank, so he could have a new life. Meanwhile, the arrested man believed to be Pierce explains to police that he was paid to pose as him but that he is really just a tourist. He shows the messages on his phone as a proof. After blowing up the safe, police find a banker's check for the £744 million in back taxes Pierce owed the British government. Jones takes the check and tells Atchison that the case is closed, because the government money has returned and what Pierce stole was the money of a now already dead gangster. Atchison looks at their boat moving away. He lately just realizes that Frank was actually Pierce. Elise and Frank/Pierce leave on a boat with the money, finally being able to be together.